Hey, welcome to our first day of class. So today we're going to be talking about how to assemble the clarinet. So this is our clarinet. Ta-da! Yes, so exciting. So we're going to talk about how to assemble that. First things first, when you set it down, you want to make sure that the name, so on this instrument, for example, this is Yamaha, you want to make sure that that's facing the correct way. A lot of times that's a really good indicator of whether or not the case is upside down. Sometimes it can be kind of hard to tell. So your best bet is to usually just look at the name and see which way that it's facing. Cool. So we're gonna open it. So this is my clarinet. Ta-da! It's COVID friendly with the bell cover and all. So to put together the clarinet, it's easier to start bottom and go top. So we'll start with the bottom. This is our bottom piece. It's called the barrel. Yep. So it has the branding. This is our bell cover for COVID. Yay! Next, you want to get the lower joint. And the lower joint is right here. So this is our lower joint. Yes, so exciting. So we're going to take this corked end here, and we're going to put it in this end of the bell. And they'll slide together pretty nicely, actually. I find that it's easiest to hold at the top of the clarinet and kind of shimmy it down. I almost do most of the shimmying with the bell and not the actual joint itself. So there's that. So we've got that. We've got our lower joint and bell. Now we're gonna add our upper joint. This is our upper joint. Looks a little bit more complex. There is one thing that is really, really important that we remember, and it's that we have this bridge right under here. Oh, sorry. We have this bridge right here, and that's gonna fit on this side over here. So when we're putting this piece on, I find that it's easiest to hold about here and then do the same. And we wanna hold down one of these keys so that the bridge piece is open and not gonna break off. So once we have that on, we're gonna make sure that that's perfectly straight. I'm not sure if you can see that in there. Not really, but here we have our two bridge pieces, right? And they are perfectly in line. Awesome. So next we're gonna add the barrel. This is our barrel, super fun, super exciting. Same thing. We're gonna hold up higher, excuse me, while we situate that. And one of the next key portions is our reed. So our reed is the thin piece of cane that goes on our mouthpiece, and that's how we make a sound. So this is gonna vibrate on this mouthpiece, and you'll see when I put it on how that will all work. It's gonna vibrate, and that's what's gonna make our sound. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. I'm gonna wet this reed real quick, and then we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Our reed is nice and wet. Make sure that we wet both ends. We'll talk a little bit more about why that's important later on. But make sure that we wet both ends. So we have this end and then our shank here. So we're gonna put that on the mouthpiece on what's called the facing. So it's the open side or the flat side of the mouthpiece. And you're gonna wanna line that up with the top of the mouthpiece so that it looks almost like there's a little black line above, I don't know how I'm gonna show this, a little black line above the reed. So it'll wanna look like it's almost not lined up perfectly, but you'll see that it is. Cool. So now that we've got that on, we're going to put our ligature on properly. Just go on and fix that. And then we're gonna tighten that up. And the final step of putting it together, we're gonna put our mouthpiece on the clarinet. Awesome. So once again, hold up higher so that other middle pieces don't slide while we're putting this together. That would be very inconvenient. Awesome. And you're gonna wanna make sure that that's mostly in line with the rest of the clarinet. So, oops. Okay. Coolio. All right, now that we are ready, oops, we have to talk about some really important things before we play. So first we're gonna talk about breath support, embouchure, and kind of things that go along with that. So let's get started. So breath support. Breath support is super key to any musician's playing, because, you know, without breath, how are we supposed to play? We blow into the instruments. That's why they're wind instruments. So our breath support, it needs to come from our diaphragm. So our diaphragm is this big muscle in our abdomen, and it doesn't necessarily control breathing, but it has a lot to do with breathing. And it's really important that we draw our breath from there and not from like our lungs or our chest or anything like that. We want to draw from our stomach area. So our diaphragm is right about here. And you can feel it if you engage your abs, you can feel your diaphragm right there. So we want to use that because it's going to get us the biggest, strongest, best breath that we can as musicians. Next, let's talk about embouchure. So embouchure is how we put our mouth around the mouthpiece to play. So it varies for instruments. Obviously, the embouchure that I use for clarinet is not going to be the embouchure that I use for flute or saxophone or trumpet or whatever it may be. So let's talk about clarinet embouchure. Clarinet embouchure is kind of strange. It is similar to saxophone, but not exact because of the angle at which the mouthpiece or instrument comes into your mouth. So if you'll remember, saxophone comes in at a 90-degree angle. So there it is here, right? Clarinet does not do that. We don't play clarinet all the way out here. That's really inconvenient and tiring. So clarinet is played more flat down the stomach, down the chest, down the body. So how we position our mouth is going to be a little bit different. A great way to think about this is to think about your mouth almost like a drawstring bag. So the top of drawstring bags, when you pull them, they cinch, right? So they go like, they cinch up, right? So we kind of want to emulate that on the clarinet. There are just a few differences, but that's a general good starting spot. We want the corners of our mouth tucked in, they're held tight. That's what's going to create the seal around the mouthpiece. We want our lips not rolled under or rolled all the way out. They just kind of want to be resting naturally. Personally, I do actually roll my bottom lip over my bottom teeth to create a little bit of a cushion so that my teeth aren't hitting the reed and making it really squeaky and tinny and gross. That's a tone thing, which we can talk about too. So yeah, so I want everyone to take a minute now. We're just going to practice putting our mouths around the clarinet. And if you feel like you have a general good idea of embouchure and how it needs to be, you can go ahead and try to play a couple notes, see how that is. But we're just gonna practice, and I want you guys to watch me and try to do what I do, okay? So my chin is flat, my corners are in, my bottom lip is rolled under to create that cushion. Okay. All right, so let's try to play some music. Let's try to play some notes. You'll see personally, before I ever play anything, I kind of go through a little mental checklist for my embouchure, just to make sure that everything's right. We're not gonna have any issues when we start playing. We're not gonna have to do many modifications when we start playing. So I go through a little quick mental checklist. You know, I just think teeth, tongue, lips, corners, you know, stuff like that. Oh my gosh, another key part, your teeth. So your top teeth are gonna be pushing down onto the top of the mouthpiece, the top of the back of the mouthpiece. Mine has a little pad, like a little rubber pad for my teeth so that they don't hit the plastic and it hurts. But you wanna push those down into the mouthpiece, and you're kind of pushing the clarinet away and up almost. So you almost want to feel the pressure. It's not supposed to be painful, but you do want to feel pressure a little bit in your mouth, well, on your teeth and on your thumb and with the clarinet. So anyway, let's play a couple notes. Just kind of noodle around, push the buttons, see what happens. Okay. So now we're going to talk about our first three notes. Our first three notes are going to be C, D, and E. I feel like those are pretty good notes for a clarinetist to start on because it's very visual. So to finger C, this is going to be middle C on the grand staff, middle C on the piano, if any of that means anything to you. So we're going to finger thumb. We have our thumb covering this hole, right? Thumb. And then we have our index finger covering the top hole. We're gonna skip this little key right here. So this is just covering, it's not an actual key. We're gonna skip that one. We're gonna go to this second one, put our middle finger on that one. And then we have a hole down here, a tone hole down here. It doesn't have a little metal button attached to it. It's just a tone hole. So we're gonna cover that with our finger, okay? So we've got our thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and then our pinky's just kind of hanging out. And our left hand, we're gonna have our thumb under the thumb rest. And for now, our fingers are just gonna rest over the keys, not on them, just over. Because we're not playing those notes yet, but we wanna keep our fingers close so that when we do play those notes, our fingers don't have to travel far to get back to them. Okay, so we are starting with a middle C, all right? So we're gonna put our mouth on our instruments and let's go through our little checklist. So we've got teeth, right? Let's go bottom lips. Mine's rolled under. Bring your corners in, bring the corners of your mouth in, like that drawstring brag. And keep that chin flat and level. We don't want it down or up or back or whatever to the side. Just want. Awesome. So let's all try to play that C right now. So we've got our thumb, index, middle, and ring fingers, skipping that little metal covering right there, right? That's your concert C. Well, not concert C, excuse me. That's our middle C. So D is one step above C, right? So it is a whole step above C. So in order to do that, all we have to do is lift our ring finger. And for visual purposes, I'm gonna put that finger away. But in general, we wanna leave the fingers near, hovering, whatever it may be. So to play D, we have thumb, index, and ring, or middle finger, excuse me, skipping that little hole. All right, let's try to play E now. Excuse me, that was D. Let's play D, which is thumb, 1 and 2. Awesome. And the last note that we're going to talk about today is E. So E is just thumb, 1. All right? So thumb and our index finger. And let's try to play that now. Awesome. So now we're gonna play just a series of fun games with those notes. Can everyone remind me what the fingerings are? C. Thumb 1, 2, 3. Awesome. D. Thumb 1, 2, and E is thumb 1. Yeah, exactly. So let's just play E, D, C. We're just gonna go da, 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 right? Got it? And I'll give you 3 and you're in. 1, 2. Awesome. Great job, you guys. Thank you so much for all your hard work today, and I look forward to next class with you. Thank you. All right, so we are back. Oops, excuse me. Oh, hold on. Let's not say that.